You're watching the Nike EYBL Scholastic Conference Tournament at the Riverview Park Aquatic Center in North Augusta, South Carolina. And our first matchup of tournament season features Oak Hill against Luhigh for the right to play another day. And on that note, that's what it is. This is when the games take some significance. The winner of the tournament will have an automatic bid to play in the Chipotle Nationals next month. Welcome into the broadcast booth alongside the great Trey Demps. I'm Sam Brief, and Trey, this is when it counts.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the best time of year. It's March. It's championship time. Both of these teams have extremely good talent and potential. It's a Luhigh team that's won 7 in a row since Kyan Anthony returned, so expect a good one here today.
Yeah, Luhigh is one of the hottest teams in the nation. They are undefeated with Kyan Anthony in the lineup, and they trounced Oak Hill last time these two teams faced each other. Third-year head coach Yarrick Stoneman leads this Oak Hill starting lineup, a team that Trey loves to pound it in the paint.
Yeah, they have 3 guys, really, that could score inside of the painted area, featured with Mgbako and Lindsey Williams, as well as a talented sophomore.
On the flip side for Luhigh, really dynamic playmakers for the head coach John Buck, and a team that, as you said, is undefeated with Kyan Anthony.
Yeah, this arguably might be the team with the best guard play. They average 13.2 assists per game, and they do a good job of getting to that painted area and sharing the basketball.
Let's dive in now to our players to watch, and it's someone for Oak Hill who scores 16 points a game, 5th most in the EYBL, alongside Caden Mingo for Luhigh.
Yeah, Ethan Mgbako is 3rd in the Scholastic League and made 3, 2nd in scoring, just a dynamic playmaker. And then Caden Mingo, as of late, has really shot the ball well, is 11th in the Scholastic League and made 3s.
And Mgbako still mulling his college options. Caden Mingo, he's off to Penn State to play for the Nittany Lions. So here we go. EYBL Scholastic Tournament. Again, the team that wins it all will get an automatic bid at the Chipotle Nationals, which take place next month, Fishers, Indiana. But for now, we're getting ready to roll. If Luhigh wins this game, they would face the 2-seeded Brewster tomorrow. If Oak Hill wins, they would face the number 1 seed, Wasatch Academy. And we're underway. Oak Hill in the gray, Luhigh in the white. Last time these teams faced off a couple weeks ago, it was a 76-41 demolition derby. Luhigh taking down Oak Hill. Here's Howard Williams. Off to DeMarco Johnson, who really keys the offense from a distribution standpoint. In the corner, Howard Williams missing a strong one. And rebound for big Nico Anyaguere.
I like the fluidity of the offense in that first possession. That's something that Oak Hill's really struggled with.
Driving in, Dylan Mingo, the younger of the Mingo brothers.
So good putting the ball on the floor. The 6'5" frame, get deep downhill. It's a great job reading the defense, realizing the help wasn't there on the baseline.
Williams draws a double. Now Mgbako. You highlighted him, a sharpshooter. Oak Hill was just 1 of 16 from 3 last time these two teams met, and they're 0 for 2 from the floor so far. Here comes Luhigh the other way. Weaving in, Mingo to Anthony, and misses the 3.
And that's one area of his game that he needs to continue to work on. In the Scholastic League, 32% on open catch and shoot 3s.
As a team, Luhigh hits just 29% of 3s. That's 2nd to last in the conference. So here's Williams calling the shots. Off to Mgbako. A deep 3 is good. Oak Hill storms ahead. And quickly, Mingo with the response. You can't let 5 in white beat you like that.
It's so tough to guard when a team gets out in transition. Even on made baskets, that ball gets outletted so quickly because they have multiple guys they can throw the ball to, and it's a good job by Mingo getting downhill in transition.
Here's Williams drawing Anyaguere out, which opens some space for Mgbako. And he's got all 5 points.
That was a good job of Mgbako going early on that post-up, not allowing the double team to get there.
Tip back for Onyeguere, no, and rebound hauled in by Williams. So Oak Hill with a little spurt here. Mgbako, the teardrop, no, tip, no. Now Williams following the shot. And it goes out to Howard Williams. So fresh life for Oak Hill. Driving in, a miss, and we'll stay here. One of the best offensive rebounding teams in the conference, showing it.
Yeah, they just have multiple guys that are athletes that can get up on the rim, and then their point guard, Donovan Williams, averages 2 offensive rebounds per game himself. So he's another guy at that guard position you don't normally see that can get on that offensive glass.
Deandra Lindsay for 3. That's 2 triples for the Warriors.
A great start for Oak Hill, and love to see them ready to go as they're struggling a little bit in their transition defense, but on the offensive end, right as I talk, they throw the ball way out of bounds. They've come out with life and energy, and all their mistakes, Sam, thus far have been aggressive mistakes. And that's something that you can live with as a coach.
What does that mean to you, an aggressive mistake versus just a lazy one?
Well, just like in that possession, you get a rebound, you try to push the ball, you throw it out of bounds. You're excited. There's a sense of life and energy, and I think that's something this Oak Hill team has lacked.
The miss for Mingo, and it's hauled in by Johnson. Yeah, Oak Hill coming in losers of 3 of their last 4, including the blowout loss at Luhigh. Now looking for revenge. Lindsay lost it to Mingo. And here comes his older brother, Caden, with the feed to MJ Madison. And he's strong on the layup. Rebound tips, and then squirms into the hands of Williams. Mgbako to Lindsay. A nice alley-oop.
Both teams struggling a little bit with their transition defense. To do a better job, both coaches are going to probably talk to their team about getting back.
And John Buck calls timeout. Oak Hill, well, they lost by 25 last time against Luhigh. Little pep in the step to start the conference tournament. Back at the EYBL Scholastic Conference Tournament, and Oak Hill on a 7-0 run powered by Ethan Mgbako and Deandra Lindsay. Got some spunk today.
Yeah, these guys have really come out ready to play. And, you know, the games that I've covered and watched Oak Hill, they really haven't come out with that energy and that intensity that you need to win at this level. And thus far on both ends of the floor, outside of the transition defense, they've done a really good job of being locked in and playing hard.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, they played against Luhigh, lost by 25. In that game, Oak Hill was 1 for 16 from 3. They've already doubled that. They're 2 of 4 from downtown.
And Oak Hill only had 1 assist in that game, too.
Up top, Kamisoko fouled by Howard Williams. That's the first foul of the game, 4 minutes in. Meanwhile, Luhigh offensively, they've missed a slew of layups so far. Had some nice transition opportunities, but leaving points at the rim as Anthony has it up top. Syracuse bound forward, off to Mingo. Senior who's bound for Penn State. That's tipped away by Ethan Mgbako. And Oak Hill doing a nice job in the passing lanes.
Yeah, you saw a little bit of a motion ball screen where you get side pick and rolls on both sides, and Mgbako read that perfectly as the ball was being reversed to the right side.
Here goes Mingo plunging inside, and he's fouled. So first free throws of the day will come courtesy of the 5-star Dylan Mingo.
And Mingo is second in the Scholastic League in made free throws at 41. Just does such a good job of changing pace. He's long, he's athletic, he's hard to stay in front of, and is able to seek out contact and has a strong upper body even though he has a lean frame.
What does it tell you about him that he gets to the line so much? It's more than just being a good free throw shooter, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a intuitive thing. You have to be able to feel the defender on you as you're driving to the basket and understand when the defense is in position to potentially foul you as you're driving to the basket, and then kind of go up to the basket as that's happening, or understanding the positioning of the weak side big man that's coming over to help.
A little tumble for Williams, and they'll get Caden Mingo for the foul. You look at this Luhigh team and talk about playmakers. You're zoning in now on Dylan Mingo. Well, Caden is sensational. Nigel James is sensational. Well, guard play is what wins this time of year, right?
Absolutely. You need to have multiple guys that can put that ball on the floor, because if one guy's having an off game, as we see Lindsey turn the ball over there on the baseline, you got to have other options. And I feel like teams that are limited in their depth in the backcourt, if one guy's not playing up to par, it could be hard to score as the intensity rises and you rely on your guards.
Turnovers so far are keeping Luhigh in it. Oak Hill has committed 3, Luhigh with none, as Mingo goes to work, and good with the left hand.
It was the retreat dribble from Mingo as the big was coming out the hedge. He saw that Mingo took one step back with that dribble and retreated. The big went back with his man, then he was able to attack downhill.
All 8 Luhigh points have come from a Mingo. 6 from Dylan, 2 from Caden. Here's Mgbako working on Anthony. With 5 seconds, the 3 for Johnson is well off. Long rebound for Dylan Mingo, and he was fouled going back. Might have been a reach on Johnson.
And the worst thing you can do if you're Oak Hill is take tough shots, because it's going to lead to long rebounds, as we see this replay here. It's a quick retreat dribble, a little hesitation, and to the basket. Nice finish with the left hand there from Mingo.
Point guard headed to Penn State next fall. Now another speed dribble, and that's an easy goaltend call on Donovan Williams. I feel like I just watched the replay and then watched it again.
And that's the big's responsibility. You have to understand when a player has done the same move that he's trying to attack. So as a big, you have to have that recognition and stay a little bit longer until the guard is able to get over the top.
As a result, Luhigh has scored the last 6 points. Now Mgbako takes a tumble, and Onyeguere called for the foul. So we had no fouls in the first 4 minutes of the game. We've had 6 in the 2 minutes since. Let's see what the next 2 minutes have in store. 10-all, here's Johnson. Trigger for Mgbako. Got Onyeguere leaping, but he left it short. And then MJ Madison scoops it out of bounds, going to Luhigh.
And that was a great emergency switch by Nico, 21 in white. He was not guarding Mgbako, who came out of that down screen for a corner 3, but recognized that the shooter, their best player, came out and contested and made him put the ball on the floor.
Now Onyeguere back to work, and he was stripped going up. Howard Williams, a little wild, and he coughs it right back to Luhigh. But a foul in the backcourt, stopping their forward progress, stays Luhigh ball. Had some messy possessions as these two teams reacquaint each other.
And one of the reasons why you want to keep Luhigh out of transitions because they're not a very good three-point shooting. I understand they've made 18 threes in their last 2 games. But you look at this season overall, they only make 5 threes per game, so they become very one-dimensional if you make them play half-court offense. And so if you turn the ball over, take tough, long shots, it allows them to play to their strengths.
On the pick and roll, here's Onyeguere. Little right-handed bunny, boarded by Kamisoko. Now Mingo for 3. Strong, bounces around, and fight for the board is won by Oak Hill. Howard Williams coming away with it. Luhigh, to your point, 0 for 2 from 3. As Oak Hill strikes again, it's Mgbako.
Now I love that Mgbako is hunting shots. He has times throughout the course of the game where he can really shy away, where you don't even notice him on the floor. He's too talented for that. He needs to be a guy for Oak Hill that's constantly hunting shots, and that's exactly what he's doing this afternoon.
8 points, perfect 2 of 2 from downtown. Now Mingo plunges inside, and a bit strong. He's been in attack mode from the get-go. Now a lob is picked by Dylan Mingo. Ahead to his big bro for 2, and a foul.
The 2 mistakes there from Mgbako. No one ever picked him up in transition, so you do not give up the ball until you get picked up by somebody in a white shirt. And then on the other end, here's a second mistake where you foul a guy that has a clear path. In that situation, you got to just let him go.
How about the 70-foot assist from Dylan Mingo to Caden Mingo? And still, all of Luhigh's points are from a Mingo. Caden has 7, Dylan has 6. And we're all knotted up at 13. Entertaining start to the conference tourney. Williams up top on the drive, and they'll get MJ Madison for the foul.
The fluidity of Oak Hill's offense, especially in the half court, looks so much better, even off some of the misses they've had. And that allows for guys like Howard Williams to get straight line drives. When you have choppy offenses, when there's not good spacing, it's hard to create driving lines. And Howard Williams on that one got fouled because of the good spacing.
Mgbako for 3, dead on. He's perfect.
And that's going to open up the floor for the other 4 players on the court because all attention and awareness is going to be on Mgbako now.
He has 11 of Oak Hill's 16 points. Nice day for 23 in gray. Now Mingo with a couple seconds. Ball coughed up and will stay with Luhigh at 3.1.
And Sam, it's a little thing, but something that young players are still learning at this level is that ball went baseline. There were 3 players who swarmed to the basketball. At the next level, it has to be the guy that's on the bottom who's guarding the opposite corner that comes over to help. You can't have 3 guys go to the ball because that's going to lead to open 3-pointers. At this level, it doesn't show as much because the talent level and the shooting is not as good, but as the guys get to the college level, those are mistakes you can't make.
All right, those shooters will make you pay. And it's into Mingo. At the buzzer. Left it short. And we dance off to the second quarter with Oak Hill up 3. Well, the Warriors dropped one by 25 a couple weeks ago against Luhigh. This is night and day to what we saw before. And when we come back, it'll be quarter 2. It's round 1 of the EYBL Scholastic Tournament, and we're back after this. Nike EYBL Scholastic is brought to you by Nike. This is Winning Basketball. And delivered by Chipotle. Real ingredients, real flavor. Chipotle. For real. Oak Hill looking to pull off some shockers this week at the EYBL Scholastic Tournament. And led by Ethan Mgbako, who's getting checked out right now. Bottom left of your screen. Warriors with some spunk so far.
Yeah, Mgbako has gotten 2 looks off baseline out of bound plays where Luhigh's been asleep a little bit. And I just love the fact that Mgbako is just hunting his shot. He's come out here ready to play, trying to finish the season on a high note. Look at their record, 4-7, a 10 seed. Probably haven't met those expectations, but you love to see guys compete no matter where they are in the rankings.
These two teams were headed in sort of opposite directions ending the regular season as Anthony takes, and there's an offensive foul on Onyeguere. They'll get him for the moving screen. But Trey, you look at the trajectories of these teams. Oak Hill lost 3 of their last 4 coming in. Luhigh has not lost a single game since December 18th on a 7-game EYBL win streak and 15 games in a row overall. A 3 for Williams. Strong, boarded by Anthony. Quickly the other way. This is Luhigh's game, and it's Madison on the finish.
Nope. I don't know. It looked like Nico got his hand on that ball.
Basket interference. Nico Onyeguere, it seems, just grazed it. Maybe a fingernail on the ball. Takes away a would-be bucket for Madison. Let's see.
Oh, he got his hand on the basket. Interesting.
So they call basket interference. It's waved off. Oak Hill back on the attack. Mgbako back in the game, working on Anthony. Now to the shifty Johnson. Anthony's all over Mgbako, who gets doubled and then throws it out of bounds. It hit a Luhigh hand, so we stay here.
Love to see that Anthony now is taking on the challenge of guarding Mgbako. It's one of those moves where defensively you understand a guy that's hot, but you have to put some pressure on him. You have to be physical with them. High alert level. That's what Anthony did on that possession.
You see Anthony giving him no space, even between plays, as that's offensive rebound for Lindsay, and then Donovan Williams the miss. Lindsay has 2 offensive rebounds. That's a key for Oak Hill.
Yeah, he averages 3 on the year.
A little wild on the drive for Mingo, and we're going back to Oak Hill. Yeah, as a team, the Warriors among the best offensive rebounding teams in the EYBL. When they're at their best, they're crashing the glass, getting second chance opportunities.
And they're a pretty good defensive team, too, when they don't allow teams to get out in transition. And again, it's shot selection and not turning the ball over, and especially live ball turnovers.
Williams with it up top, and a foul away from the ball. Goes against Dylan Mingo. Well, we've played almost 10 full minutes, and still all of Luhigh's points are courtesy of either Caden or Dylan Mingo. Johnson able to get it to Williams. Now Mgbako testing his luck. The heat check good. He's 3 for 3.
And for Luhigh, that was a guard-to-guard switch. But if you switch, you have to have high hands. You have to be there on the catch, especially if you're giving up some size. Mgbako comes off that thing, locked and loaded, ready to shoot.
And then they get Mgbako for a foul. He has 14 points and is not missed from downtown. So far, all about 23 in gray.
And their number 4 in white, Mingo, drops back a little bit. You have to be at the level of the screen, ready to switch and have high hands.
And then Luhigh tosses it away. Well, this Luhigh team With no losses since mid-December, they look a bit choppy so far, Trey. Crusaders shooting just 5 of 17 from the floor. That's 29%. Down low, a miss on the cut from Lindsay. Here goes Madison, no. Tip for Anthony's off, and it squeaks out to check Bataille. A lid on the hoop for Luhigh. And then a travel is called on Mgbako. That's turnover number 7 for Oak Hill.
It's boring, but you have to come to a jump stop. As Mgbako's going full speed, sprinting the center court. It's where you play off of 2 feet. You come to a jump stop, and then you read what's open. That corner cut was open, but you have to be under control in transition.
And then Anthony throws it away. What is up with the Luhigh offense? 27% shooting, 4 turnovers, and only 2 players have scored.
I thought Madison had the right read there to get a pitch behind handoff from Anthony. Just a miscommunication there.
And then nearly a pickpocket for Anthony. Mgbako the extra pass. Williams can't hit the 3. Omar Essam fresh off the bench with the rebound. Here is Anthony, an air ball. You don't see that from him much. And then what a high-flying interception for Mingo. Anthony with numbers. Dylan Mingo misses the 3. Oak Hill back with it. Backcourt pressure and a timeout. So Yerrick Stoneman uses his first timeout. All about Ethan Mgbako right now. With 14 points, he's outscoring Luhigh halfway through the second.
You can't be demanding. You can't be relentless. You can't put yourself first. So, put yourself first. You can't dominate. So dominate. You can't fill a stadium. So fill that stadium. You can't take credit. You can't speak up. You can't be ambitious. You can't have any fun. You can't be proud. You can't keep score. You can't stand out. Whatever you do, you can't win. So win.
So how would you describe the chicken to someone who had never tasted it?
Literally melt in your mouth tender. We don't have a freezer, you know? It's almost like a farmer's market. When you walk into the restaurant, you should hear the sizzle that you're hearing right now. Just sends all those waves up to your mouth.
You're making me hungry.
Let's take a look now at today's Chipotle Player Spotlight, and it's one of the best board crashers in the EYBL, #1 player in Tennessee, Deandra Lindsay. Chipotle order, got the chicken bowl, white rice, cheese, sour cream, lettuce, and queso. A delightful treat.
Love it. Love it. The lean meat there. Got some greens. That's a great, simple bowl.
And you take advantage of all the dairy options.
Yes.
You got the queso, you got the sour cream, you got the cheese. I'm going with the lean meat.
He's a lean guy, too, so he needs to put on as he gets ready for college next year.
6'8", 210, Deandra Lindsay. Native of Knoxville, Tennessee, takes a seat so far for an Oak Hill team that Trey might have had some doubters coming in. Lost 3 of 4. Lost by 25, their only game against Luhigh. But they're all over it right now. And then a tumble for Williams. The pick from Mingo, he was fouled. So he won't get the freebie, wants a clear path foul. We'll see if he gets it.
That's just great ball pressure. See Dylan Mingo just getting into Williams' airspace as he's trying to initiate the offense. And he's able to get his hand on the ball. And that's the one way to get your team going, is being the head of the snake defensively, guarding that ball up top.
It's been almost 4.5 minutes since Luhigh scored. Here's Madison in the low post, up and under, no. Mingo the tip, right to Mgbako. So second quarter still scoreless for Luhigh, and that's the first three-point miss for Mgbako, but shot was blocked. Now Anthony, down low, pass picked. Saxon McWilliams with the interception. And then drive and kick. Williams misses the three to Essam. Anthony quickly the other way, and there is the first Luhigh bucket of the second quarter.
And all their buckets have been off turnovers or transition, as we see a nice back cut.
But the dunk miss for Williams. He was fouled by Essam. So this was the first basket for Luhigh from someone whose last name isn't Mingo.
Yeah, just a nice step through. Very good in transitions, very slippery offensively, Kyan Anthony is. See if that can get him going offensively. A slow start for him.
How about this? The first free throw of the day for Oak Hill. And it's good for Williams. You don't see that much. A team winning by a couple of possessions. No free throws as Williams converts them both.
How about this? Oak Hill right now is shooting 32% and has 8 turnovers. And they're up by 6 points now.
You don't see turnover numbers like that, but hey, Luhigh, look at there, 1 for their last 7 shots. They have not made Oak Hill pay. Here's Mingo behind the back, and the lob tips out to Anthony. Down to Essam with the wide open flush.
It's one of the few possessions in the half court where the ball has gotten side to side, and Oak Hill's defenses have to shift. At this level, you get multiple paint touches, multiple ball reversals, something's going to open up.
And it ends with the dunk for the Egyptian star Omar Essam, who then fouls Williams on the other end. Essam, a nearly 7-footer from Cairo, part of the Egyptian national team, and he is the beneficiary of a near triple team.
It looked like Howard Williams on that one came up way too far on the Kyan Anthony drive. It's an easy read for Anthony.
And now Johnson will trigger from the sideline. Up top, here's Lindsay, who we just spotlighted in the Chipotle spotlight. And there's a foul on Caden Mingo, getting handsy.
I think for Oak Hill, you look at Donovan Williams and DeMarco Johnson, they just need those guys to be solid and take care of the basketball and be able to, probably most importantly, initiate the offense. And then you let kind of your stars on your team and Lindsay and Williams and Mgbako make sure to get those guys the ball in their sweet spots.
On the note of the Oak Hill offense, it's interesting. Coming into the tournament, they had the fewest assists per game in the EYBL at under 10.
Yep.
Today they have 7 assists on 7 made baskets.
Yeah, and I think, again, it just goes to the fluidity of the offense. You got to give Coach Stoneman a ton of credit. Looks like they've changed a little bit what they've done in the half court, and they've been able to get some good looks.
Madison the drive. Pass picked by Lindsay. 6th Luhigh turnover in a really sloppy first half. Here's Mgbako, who has 14 points. Now Williams carving in, gets it with the foul.
You know what I love about that play, though, Sam, is the simple read of DeMarco Johnson. As he came off that pick and roll, he didn't try to make the home run play. He kicked it back out to his playmaker and Mgbako, and then allowed him, Mgbako, to make that play. You see it again. Look, that's a simple read. Get the ball out to your playmaker on the wing, and then now Ethan Mgbako is able to play in space, and you hit Donovan Williams, who's a great athlete at the point guard position for the and one.
A sensational athlete, number 17 ranked shooting guard in his class, and the native of Orlando makes it a 9-point game. Oak Hill +6 in the second quarter. Behind 14 points from Ethan Mgbako. What a start to the conference tournament. And a lot of possessions like this with really active hands.
And on that one, Anthony, and we've seen this a few times from Luhigh in the half court, is where they're not driving where the openings are. Clearly the opening off that reverse when Anthony caught the ball was towards the middle. All the help side was on the right side. He drove right into the help.
And a good bucket for Anthony from 3 with a foul. Here's one you don't see much.
This is a good assertive attack here from Anthony. One rhythm dribble. Sees the defense is playing off a little bit. Has the space. And able to knock down the and 1 3.
Now you got to polish it off, and Anthony does so. Syracuse bound forward. Now with 6 points. So 100 seconds left till halftime. And we'll see if Luhigh has a charge in him. Ball thrown away. Mingo swoops in, and back to a one-possession game.
Sam, we'll never know whose mistake that ultimately was, because it looked like DeMarco Johnson assumed that Howard Williams was going to pop on that, but those are just mistakes you can't have.
9 first-half turnovers for Oak Hill. Johnson to Lindsay, 4-3.
Again, another simple play. DeMarco Johnson had just turned the ball over. He makes the simple read. One dribble, get the ball to the open man on the left wing.
Kami Soko doesn't have the answer. Rebound goes to Oak Hill's Howard Williams. Here's Donovan Williams shimmying in, and he finishes. So just when Luhigh started to make a run, a little 4-0 spurt for Oak Hill as bodies fly. And it's a foul on Oak Hill's Saxon McWilliam.
This is where Luhigh really misses Nigel James, because he's the type of guy that can change and alter the tempo and the flow of a basketball game just with his defensive presence, his energy. You know, right now, Luhigh is kind of playing without a true point guard.
We're told that Nigel James didn't even travel with the team, so he's not with them down in South Carolina. Their leading assister, who averages 4.5 a game, 5th most in the EYBL. So without him adding the flow, Luhigh struggling down 8. A lot of dribbling here for Mingo, and the pass picked by Lindsay, and then a frustration foul goes against Luhigh.
That was a good job of Lindsay. He provided a little bit help on the Mingo drive, and then was quickly able to get back to the big and was able to intercept that pass.
And Oak Hill in the bonus, so they will shoot free throws. It's DeAndre Lindsay in a game that has not featured a single free throw miss so far. It stays that way. These two teams combined 10 for 10 this afternoon. Nice start for DeAndre Lindsay, 8 points, 3 boards, 2 steals. And he adds to it. So with the shot clock off, Luhigh can hold for the final shot. A slow and choppy start to their EYBL tournament. Here goes Anthony at the 5-second mark, right to the can for 2. And one last heave for Johnson. Graze some twine, but it'll send us to halftime. And Luhigh able to make it respectable, but all Oak Hill in the first half.
You see here this replay, a little Spanish pick and roll when you get that back screen to go along with the high ball screen. And the C parted for Anthony. He was able to finish it with the right hand.
8 first half points for Anthony in a half where only 3 of Luhigh's players scored a point. So Oak Hill by 8 at halftime, and we'll resume in about 10 minutes as action gets underway at the EYBL Scholastic Conference Tourney. welcome back. EYBL Scholastic Tournament in the first game so far. A little surprising, 8-point Oak Hill lead over Luhigh. And Trey, all about Ethan Mgbako so far.
Yeah, Ethan Mgbako has been a menace here today. He's come out ready to play, hunting his shot. He had 2 threes off baseline out of bounds, had a nice drive to the basket. Love to see him aggressive because he's the head of the snake.
And one of the heads of the snake for Luhigh, Nigel James, not with the team right now, so lacking a little bit of offensive flow, and those shooting numbers are a result.
Yeah, you look at this Luhigh team, and their 3-point woes have continued here tonight. They've had shot better their last 2 games and made 18 threes over their last 2, only 1 of 6 here today. They're a team that's under 30% from 3. And then how about Oak Hill? 6 of 13 from 3, 9 turnovers. So I really feel like this could be a 20-point game if Oak Hill would have taken care of the ball just a little bit better.
Right, you maybe have 4 or 5 turnovers
Yeah.
instead of 9, and it's a significant halftime lead. Oak Hill with the same number of 3-point makes, 6, as Luhigh has attempts. What's the plan of attack for Luhigh to crawl back in?
There just has to be better execution in half-court offense. And it's a struggle because you're missing your point guard, the guy who runs the show that's able to create for others.
Well, now Johnson looking to create as Williams gets fouled down low. It looks like Caden Mingo is the guilty party. That's his 3rd. Some foul trouble could develop for Luhigh in this game. In the first half, Luhigh had contributions from only 4 scorers. Caden and Dylan Mingo, Kyan Anthony, and then the Egyptian center, Omar Essam, with 2. Here's a steal for Mingo. Then quickly the other way, Anthony with a bobble and a travel. Back to Oak Hill.
It's been the story of this game is turnovers for both teams. Now a combined 18 turnovers. We've barely started this second half, and Howard Williams on the other end is only a sophomore, just has so much potential, but continuing to feel more and more comfortable playing on the perimeter is going to be the key for him.
On a pick and roll, DeAndre Lindsay by himself.
Lindsay looked a little bit surprised that ball was coming for him. He didn't look for the basketball as he rolls.
Didn't seem like he had any idea it was coming, but he made it work. Here goes Mingo. Nice behind the back dribble. Strong finish isn't there. And rebound tips to his big brother. Down low, Onyekwere, the dunk.
Luhigh got lucky on that possession again. Just the spacing is just off. There was 4 guys on the right side of the floor. There was nowhere for Mingo to drive the basketball. Fortunately, they were able to get the loose ball and find Nico for the dunk.
Finally, Onyekwere gets on the board after missing his first 3. Mgbako for 3 from long distance.
And that was set up from the roll from Lindsay. There was a tag that had to happen to prevent the layup, and that allowed Mgbako to get wide open for that 3.
5 of 6 from beyond the arc. And then a miss for Mingo. Ethan Mgbako, 17 points, already eclipsing his season average. And we still have almost 15 minutes left. See the score in that matchup 3 weeks ago, 25-point win for Luhigh. Now Lindsay misses the 3 ball. Mingo slicing up the court, out of bounds off of Williams, providing the pressure.
And that was still a good shot from Lindsay on the other end. And when you take good shots, Luhigh, even though they try to get out in transition, not as easy able to get downhill and get easy layups. So that's why shot selection is going to be very important for Oak Hill down the stretch.
Not helping themselves from downtown is Luhigh, as the long rebound goes to Williams. Mgbako for 3.
Feeling it. Woo! You know you're feeling it when you pull up in transition on a 2-on-1, no hesitation, and Mgbako knocking it down.
Well, the first half was all about Mgbako. And in half 2, his first 2 touches go in from long distance. Ethan feeling it today.
Yeah, 2-on-1. He had Johnson wide open underneath the basket. So
And
you know what? I got it.
more when we come back.
Sure, I was the first pick, the rookie to watch, and the back-to-back All-Star. But to get even better, I had to get real with myself. I got real about how I showed up. I got real about how I trained. I got real about what I ate. The results, something about this season, man, it just feels different.
Wow, wow, wow. So last time Oak Hill played Luhigh, Ethan Mgbako, 3 points, 3 turnovers, 3 fouls. He didn't hit a single field goal. Today he's got 20.
I mean, there's really no explanation for it. I mean, you know, Ethan Mgbako, kind of a under-the-radar recruit right now. Mackenzie Mbako's brother, who's averaging about 13 points per game at Indiana as a sophomore, could potentially be an NBA guy. But, you know, these are the type of games that propel you up the rankings and also put you on the radar with the Power 5 conferences, because nowadays, obviously, it's harder and harder to get recruited by Power 5s with the transfer portal.
8-2 run to start the second as an up and under for Mingo goes. Ooh, that was pretty.
And that was a good play out of the timeout there. And Coach Buck probably recognized that Williams was overplaying the passing lanes and the quick backdoor.
Long rainbow pass. Donovan Williams from 10 feet, boarded by Essam. Quickly, here's Anthony. Up and under, yes.
And one of the things, Sam, is because Donovan Williams crashes the offensive glass so much, we see a turnover from Oak Hill. It really compromises their transition defense, because now there's only one guard back. So if Williams is going to crash the glass, you got to have somebody else back defensively. We see it again. There's only one guy back. It's a 1-on-3 situation where Howard Williams is all alone.
And a really hard-nosed finish for Kyan Anthony. For 3 now. He drains it. Anthony taking over.
Now all the game pressure is on Oak Hill. Luhigh right back in this one.
Williams nails the fall-away 3.
That's one of those ones, Sam, where you said, no. Oh. Good shot. Because, I mean, that was a very questionable look, but Williams able to knock it in.
It's a run-stopping 3. Just when Anthony seemed to make the move, and he rattles out the response. Oak Hill back up double figures as an offensive foul goes against Donovan Williams. And that is the 12th turnover.
And I didn't know if he was square on that one, Kyan Anthony. It looked like he hadn't slid his feet all the way to be chest to chest. Nonetheless, still is able to draw that offensive foul.
Well, you've said it repeatedly. Those turnovers now up to a dozen for Oak Hill. They're keeping Luhigh in it as Mingo misses, and it's out of bounds, staying right here.
You saw Donovan Williams on that one go straight over the back of some of the trees of Luhigh. Such a good rebounder for his position.
And then a wide open cutting Mingo. 8-point game. How'd he get so open?
Just, again, because Oak Hill is overplaying the passing lanes a little bit. It's a good job of setting up the cut.
Turnaround for Williams off. Tips right back to Luhigh. Anthony Mingo. And out of bounds with some good quick hands by Czech Bataille.
The outlet passes from Luhigh are phenomenal. Pretty much everybody on the floor is capable of throwing that ball down the court at almost half the length of the distance of the court. You see a foul there on the drive on Mingo, but they're able to hit each other in stride, which is really a challenging thing to do, and it's kind of risky as well, because when you're throwing the ball at that length, you're definitely prone to have turnovers.
Looks like we'll have another off-the-ball foul. This game has been littered with fouls. 24 combined fouls. And then a cutting Cayenne Anthony rattles it home. 15 points to lead Luhigh.
That was a good cut, good change of speed there, kind of acting like he wasn't going to be the main one coming off of it to look for a layup, and he changed speed, and then he exploded off the screen. We're going to see it again here. Kind of slowed down in a quick burst to the basket. On that one, if your man is beat, you have to switch. Try to prevent that layup.
So Anthony makes it a two-possession game. Now let's see where Oak Hill's run stopping comes from. It's been a quiet couple of minutes for Mgbako, who's on the bench now. Williams, a corner three. His second in a row.
I mean, he was moving backwards. He was almost at the short corner. He was going backwards. We see a nice take here from Mingo getting downhill. And then he hit a ball fake and still made the three-pointer.
So back-to-back threes for Howard Williams. And now 5 assists each for Donovan Williams and DeMarco Johnson, as Dylan Mingo gets his second trip to the stripe.
And I think both of those guys, you mentioned 5 assists, so they have a combined now between those two guards, Williams and Johnson, 10 assists and only 3 turnovers. I think that's really been the difference today, is those guys' decision-making. They've made a lot of simple reads, especially in the half court, to allow the other guys and their stars and Lindsay, Williams, and Mgbako to get some easy looks.
And as a team, 14 assists on 15 made field goals for Oak Hill. A team that's lost 3 of 4, but looking to pull an upset in round 1 of the EYBL Scholastic Tournament. Postseason play beginning today, as Williams carves in, little stop, and out of bounds off of the Luhigh hand. Winner of this tournament gets the automatic bid of the Chipotle Nationals, which take place next month in Indiana. We'll see if a team like Oak Hill has a Cinderella run in them. Here goes Johnson. Williams, the heat check is good. Can't stop him right now.
But again, I mean, the pass from Johnson, it's a good look as we see Mingo get downhill finishing through the contact, but it's just the simple plays. See a guy is hot, he's already hit 2 threes, get into the painted area, get him the ball again.
And another heat check, little too much. Williams had been 3 for his last 3 as a transition foul goes against Oak Hill. As a team, 11 triples on 20 attempts.
I mean, this is a team in Oak Hill that averages about 5 made threes per game. One of the lower end teams in the Scholastic League in three-point shooting, and it's putting on a full display here. It's been step backs, catch and shoots, in transition, in the half court. Just getting it done from the three-point line.
Luhigh not helping their case. A couple free throw misses this quarter. This is sophomore Musa Kamisoko, the number 5 ranked power forward in his class. Offers have already poured in from Louisville, Rhode Island, and a few others. He goes 0 for 2, but Mingo with the offensive board. Now Caden Mingo nails the 3. Back to 2 possessions, and 90 seconds left in the third. Williams to Howard Williams, and the ball tips to Mingo. Here comes Luhigh, and Anthony draws the foul.
You feel like if Luhigh can control the paint, or excuse me, control the three-point line, as we see the replay from Kyan Anthony in transition. What about that one-handed pass in transition? That's a point I made earlier about those outlet passes. But if you feel like Luhigh can limit the three-point look from Oak Hill. Right now, Oak Hill only has 10 paint points. You definitely feel like they could definitely have an advantage down the stretch in this game.
Meanwhile, for Luhigh, Kyan Anthony, he is leading the way with 16 points, as all but 4 of Luhigh's points have come from either Anthony, Dylan Mingo, or Caden Mingo. It's a 4-point game. Oak Hill today has been led by Ethan Mgbako with 20 points. But Mgbako on the bench with 4 fouls, and we'll see just how long Yerrick Stoneman can resist putting him back in. Lindsay on the pick and pop. Now Williams, carving in, step back. Boarded by Mingo. They can cut it to 1 possession here, as Mingo goes down low, extra touch pass to Essam, chased down in the corner, and eventually fouled by Williams. Oh no, they're giving it back to Oak Hill. We'll say Essam stepped out before any contact, so just a simple turnover. And here comes Ethan Mgbako. 23 in gray will inbound. He's in the game with 4 fouls.
You know Kyan Anthony is going to be on him like white on rice. Anthony is a very capable defender.
Chased out of bounds, and there is Oak Hill turnover number 13. Luhigh has trailed nearly the entire game, only leading for 1 minute early. Since then, they've been on the comeback prowl, led by the Mingos and Anthony without their point guard Nigel James today. And a foul on DeMarco Johnson means free throws, as Luhigh is in the bonus.
That's where you have to understand when you're in the bonus and can't pick up a cheap foul like that. You give a team not only 2 free opportunities at the free throw line, but now Caden Mingo gets an opportunity to see that ball go in potentially 2 times.
And first one's a brick. That's 4 missed free throws in the quarter for a Luhigh team looking to come back. And without those, they'd be tied. Make it 5 misses. Lindsay, a little wild, but I think it tipped out off of Anthony. So Oak Hill ball at 13 seconds.
If you're Donovan Williams there, you got to keep that basketball, especially at the end of a quarter. You don't want to put your big fella in a position where he's got to go chase down a ball.
Trigger into the corner, and Mgbako just stepped out. I think he caught the ball out of bounds. Does it feel like at times these teams are trying to give the game away to each other? Oak Hill with all the turnovers. Luhigh with the free throw misses. And with a couple seconds left, Caden Mingo splits the D Running floater, a bit short. And in a game where they're, I guess, both trying to give it up, it's Oak Hill by 4. Round 1, game 1 of the EYBL Scholastic Tournament. And we'll have the 4th quarter when we come back. Nike EYBL Scholastic is brought to you by Nike. This is Winning Basketball and delivered by Chipotle. Real ingredients, real flavor. Chipotle, for real. Well, in the first game of the EYBL Scholastic Tournament, a little surprise is brewing as the Oak Hill Warriors, who came in, snuck in as the 10th seed, last team in, looking sharp through 3 quarters.
Yeah, they're able to take care of that basketball right now.
Maybe I should say sharp-ish.
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 When they don't turn the ball over, they've looked really sharp. I mean, shooting 11 of 20 from 3, 16 of 39 from the field.
And with 8 minutes to go, a Luhigh team that has won 15 straight games on the ropes, but now within 1.
And that was all set up from MJ Madison screening his man in. He was able to screen Mingo's man in, who was the help side on the roll.
Here's a 3 for Williams. Again! 4 triples in the second half.
And I think now, if you're Luhigh, you have to switch any ball screen with Howard Williams. He's proven in this game that he is more than capable of knocking down the outside shot.
Between Mgbako and Williams, 10 3-pointers today for Oak Hill. Great stand-up D for Williams there. Now Mingo with just 3 seconds. Lost it out of bounds. I think they say it touched an Oak Hill hand last. So Luhigh gets 4 seconds to get a shot.
That was great defense from Oak Hill. It was a hard hedge. Oak Hill did a really good job of being alert on the weak side. Everybody rotating into position, not allowing the cut from Mingo.
Oh, hold on. They're calling a foul, it looks like, on Ethan Mgbako.
Oh.
Which would be his 5th and would mean that the top scorer today is out for the final 7.
Oof, that's a major blow.
Devastating for Oak Hill. This game had been owned by Mgbako. And what do they do without him?
That's where you need Williams and Lindsay. You'll get 2-man actions between those 2 guys. And let them take you home.
Williams has been a star today with 12 on 4 3-pointers. And now we have a 2-point game. That's Omar Essam. And a foul here will keep it with Oak Hill. So no more Ethan Mgbako. He fouls out with 20 points on 6 of 7 shooting. It was really night and day, Trey, from what we saw in the game on February 14th, in which Luhigh took him down by 25.
And as a player, you understand that. You know, you want to have a bounce-back game because you really value the individual matchups. We see a nice help side defense there from Mgbako, but you got to give Mgbako a ton of credit because sometimes as a player, you have a bugaboo team that just gives you fits, and he didn't allow the last performance to affect this performance.
Night and day, but now Oak Hill holding on by a thread, and in a corner, they will call Caden Mgbako for the foul. So fouls are turning into a huge story. Mgbako just fouled out for Oak Hill. And for Luhigh, you have Dylan Mgbako with 4 fouls, Caden with 3.
Wow.
But Howard Williams is shooting lights out.
And MJ Madison just fell asleep. There has to be a high alert level for a guy that's shooting the ball so well from the perimeter.
No response from Mgbako. Rebound Johnson. Just able to keep it. Now Williams, a heat check. Oh, in and out, but the putback for DeMarco Johnson. Timeout Luhigh. So at last, Howard Williams misses. That hasn't happened much. But when he does, DeMarco there for cleanup.
It was a helter-skelter play. But how about Johnson finishing that thing with authority off the Williams miss?
Oak Hill not going anywhere in the conference tourney.
You're really making all of this by hand.
Oh yeah, the avocados are hand mashed, the chips are hand tossed, and everything is made fresh.
You make it fresh every day.
Yes, every day. The Chipotle way is we make it fresh every day.
Sounds delicious.
Oak Hill has led this thing nearly wire to wire. 3-point shooting has been lights out, and it seems like now everyone's getting a piece of it.
Yeah, you really thought that this Oak Hill team was going to be in danger zone as soon as Ethan Mgbako fouled out. But how about the response on both ends of the floor from Lindsey? We saw that putback slam from DeMarco Johnson. It's a great effort. A resilient bunch this Oak Hill team has.
Ethan Mgbako, 20 points on 6 of 7 3-point shooting. He fouled out a couple minutes ago, but he is getting lifted up big time. Howard Williams, 15 points. DeAndre Lindsey with 12. Donovan Williams with 7, and the Oak Hill Warriors, the last team to qualify for the EYBL Scholastic Tournament, on the verge of a first-round upset. Here's Kyan Anthony, who's been the second-half star for Luhigh. Working on McMillian. The fadeaway is beautiful.
It's a great job just shooting right over the top of the smaller defender. The whole side was cleared out for him to get to the painted area. He started off with the drive left, spin back to the right, got to the middle of the floor. Was able to knock down the mid-range jumper.
19 points on 7 of 11 shooting for Kyan. Here goes Williams. Pocket was picked, and then it hit his shoe and went out of bounds. Up to 15 turnovers now for the Warriors.
And that's where, if I'm Coach Stoneman, I'm reminding my 2 guards what has gotten us this lead, what's gotten us in this position is our guards making the simple play.
Here's Anthony. McMillian all over him. Now Kamisoko twirls in the 3. 2-point game.
It's interesting that McMilliam doesn't get a lot of playing time, is the one that's guarding Kyan Anthony. We see a turnover here. I'd imagine that matchup would get switched.
And they will say bucket good with the foul. A little confusion being sorted out now, as Oak Hill will throw it in. So Oak Hill ball, under 5 to go, and tied for the first time since it was 0-0. Here's Williams, who's been a second half star. No foul call as he fell at Essam. And here's Essam, a dunk miss. And then Mingo a miss. They'll call Williams for a foul. And Dylan Mingo with a chance to give Luhigh the lead.
That was great defense from Essam. Staying down on Howard Williams, but doing a good job of making him take a tough contested three and getting a hand up. As you see the replay here of the steal on the baseline out of bounds. Mingo to Anthony, and Donovan Williams showing off that athleticism, but called for the goaltend.
And now for the first time since early in the first quarter, it was at the 6:17 mark. Last time Luhigh led, and they've got it back. Leads it 2 thanks to Dylan Mingo, who now has 15 points. Now Oak Hill with Johnson on Kamisoko. Williams a 3, way off. Looks like an offense that could use Mgbako, who has fouled out of the game. Anthony a deep 3. Off the front end, rebound goes to Williams. So here comes Oak Hill. Williams, a little wild on the drive, but they'll call a foul. Sort of bailing out a messy possession.
It's kind of that tragic Bronson alert a little bit when William catches the ball. He's such a talented player, but there's one area in his game is just his guard awareness when he has that ball on the perimeter. So many times as I've watched him where he's gotten that ball poked from behind, or he's kind of fallen, lost his footing when he's handling the ball on the perimeter. If he can figure that part out of his game, he's going to be a top player in his class.
McWilliam to Johnson. Trapped in the corner. Rainbow pass, now a touch. Williams strong on the 3. And it goes out of bounds off of Kamisoko. That means we stay here with Oak Hill. So without Mgbako and with all the turnovers today, what are you looking for from Oak Hill down the stretch as the timeout's called? And we'll keep it here. So down the stretch, offensive execution for Oak Hill. What do they need?
I think you got to go to your best players. You got to get them in situations where they're comfortable. And I like the 2-man action between Williams and Lindsay. You get a big-on-big screen, maybe. Get the ball in Lindsay's hands or some sort of brush screen to try to get him downhill. But I think that's the most important thing, is keeping it simple on the offensive end of the floor and just trying to get your main guys going downhill.
15 turnovers today for Oak Hill. They've piled up. What's the biggest reason in your eyes behind that offensive sloppiness?
Well, I think on both ends, it's just been a little bit of a lack of point guard play in terms of initiating the offense and, being sped up too as well. Both of these teams like to get out in transition and run. And so sometimes you have to slow down the pace of the game and understand that the best play is the simple play and just get into your half-court offense.
And speak of point guard play, Luhigh's without Nigel James, which has been a major storyline in this game, allowing Oak Hill to dominate at the beginning. Now a steal for Essam on the ground, a travel. Back to Oak Hill.
One thing Oak Hill's going to do is they're going to fight. No matter what type of shot they get, no matter if it's a sloppy possession, there's going to be 3 or 4 guys on the glass or on the grounds digging after that basketball.
And then a foul away from the ball. That's Kamisoko's second. But this game has been full of fouls and full of turnovers, as the teams have combined for 26 turnovers and 34 fouls.
We had no fouls with like the first
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
And then it's been a fiesta of fouls. Oak Hill's already in the bonus, so Howard Williams makes it a 1-point game. He's a really interesting player, not known as a sharpshooter.
Yeah.
Just a sophomore, one of the top power forwards in his class. Well, today he's been as sharp of a shooter as there is with 5 threes. But he left that one to leave it a 1-point game. Down the wire in the first game of the EYBL Scholastic tourney. Here goes Essam, backing up on Williams. Essam with a bobble and another travel.
And see, that's where when you have Nigel James, a true point guard, you don't put Essam in that situation where it's a 1-point game, 3 minutes left, you're in a playoff one-and-done tournament. You got to get the ball into your playmakers' hands.
And right now, in the hands of DeMarco Johnson for Oak Hill. He's been a playmaker all season. And they'll call a bump. A foul on Anthony, which sends Johnson to the free throw line.
These
Lots of ticky-tack fouls.
Yeah, I was going to say, these referees, anytime you put 2 hands on the body, on the perimeter, which Luhigh tends to do a lot because they have guys who are physical defensively, they're calling fouls.
And now we are tied. Ethan Mgbako fouled out at the beginning of the quarter. No one else has more than 3 fouls right now, but a whole host of players with exactly 3. And we're under the 3-minute mark. Caden Mingo's been pretty quiet in the second half. He triggers the offense. Anthony. Looking to blow by Johnson, and he does for 2.
With the hard-hedged defense, it's a great job of Anthony keeping that dribble alive, stringing out the big man, and eventually Howard Williams has to go back to his man, and that's where the lane opens wide up.
Now Donovan Williams looking for Howard. Back to Williams. Only 5 seconds. Shooting over Essam off the front end. And now Luhigh, already an 11-2 run at their back. Back with it, under 2 to go. Anthony slices inside. And the miss, offensive board, Williams. Back up, got it, falling down. So the Mingos and Anthony closing strong. 100 seconds left in round 1. And Essam fouls Johnson, which will give 2 more free throws to Oak Hill.
I don't think Essam needed to foul there. I mean, he has the size advantage. He moves his feet pretty well for a big man.
Oak Hill as a team has been sensational from the charity stripe, 9 of 11. They are the 2nd best free throw shooting team in the conference. And Johnson makes it a 1-possession game. So both teams sort of shorthanded right now. Luhigh without Nigel James in this game. Oak Hill without Ethan Mgbako for the home stretch. It's about the 10 guys on the floor, though. And a 1-possession game after a huge Johnson miss.
think if I'm Luhigh, I'm putting the ball in Kyan Anthony's hands. He's been the one that's been able to get downhill, but it's something you don't want to see at this point of the game is a foul 40 feet away from the basket.
Not what you want. That's DeMarco Johnson with his second. Luhigh still not in the bonus. Maybe want to bleed some clock here. They can get it under a minute. Mingo to Essam with the dunk.
And it was Mingo looking off the wing as he came off that ball screen, and the help defender went back to his man, and the lane was wide open.
And then Essam swats away Williams. So Luhigh with a dominant fourth is up 5. Ball bounces around. Essam dives on it. And looked like the Luhigh sideline was calling for a timeout. Will they get it?
I didn't feel like he had possession of the ball to get a timeout.
They'll give it to him. So John Buck and Luhigh able to get the timeout somehow at the 48-second mark.
Wow.
Well, this fourth quarter, no surprise, it's been all Luhigh. A 15-3 run in the last 5 minutes. How much of that would you say is a result of Mgbako fouling out?
Huge, huge, because now for Oak Hill in the half-court offense, they don't know exactly where to go because Mgbako's been their go-to guy, second leading scorer in the Scholastic League. They're able to run him off of screens, get him in high pick and rolls, being able to post him up. And then everybody else is kind of a beneficiary off of Mgbako's scoring ability. And now you're putting guys in position where they have to be the main guy offensively and just kind of mess up the flow of your offense.
We've seen some star moments today from Howard Williams, DeAndre Lindsay and company, but none of those guys are used to being the guy. And now down the stretch, you need some big moments from Oak Hill. A foul whistled against the Warriors. And Luhigh still not in the bonus, so they'll get a couple more chances to throw it in. Mingo to Anthony. Oak Hill chasing a foul, and that will put Luhigh in the bonus. Williams fouling Kyan Anthony. How impressed have you been with Anthony today? 23 points, most of them in the second half.
Well, I've been impressed with his ability to be aggressive, but also let the game come to him. He hasn't forced anything on the offensive end. Kind of had a slow start, didn't score in the first quarter. But as other guys have contributed offensively and made shots, it's opened up opportunities for him. He's done a good job of attacking, especially in the half court and those high ball screen situations, changing pace, being able to get downhill to the basket, and also hit mid-range jump shots.
And then a travel called on Williams, which feels fitting. Those turnovers have been such a theme for Oak Hill. And Williams looking over to the nearest official, trying to understand why.
That's one of those ones, Sam, is technically it's a travel, but 80% of the time, maybe even 90% of the time, it doesn't get called. So it's something that you're just used to doing with your footwork.
And you don't want that called so late in the game as Williams commits a foul he needed to commit. 16-3 run now for Luhigh over the last 6 minutes. It felt almost inevitable.
Yeah. Well, I think when Oak Hill looks back at this game, they're going to really regret the 17 turnovers many of them just playing a little bit too fast, a little bit too giddy offensively, and that was kind of the spark that got Luhigh going offensively as they were able to score off of those turnovers. Some guys who had been quiet, especially Kai and Anthony, were able to see the ball go through the bucket through some transition looks.
And Mingo with a miss. We'll see if it matters. Now a 7-point game as that one squeaks in. Oak Hill so dominant early in the game as some of these technical free throws go up. The first and second quarter all about the three-point shooting, most notably from Ethan Mgbako. But late, it's been Luhigh putting a stranglehold on this game. And by the way, the technical foul charged to Donovan Williams. With an 8-point lead, this one feels like Luhigh is ready for round 2. And Mingo's fouled, so assuming Luhigh holds on for the next 35 seconds, if you zoom out, they will punch their ticket to the second round and a date with 2-seeded Brewster, who I know is one of the teams you've been most impressed with this year.
Yeah, when I watch Brewster play, I mean, they're a well-oiled machine. They run their offense as fluid as a collegiate team. They just have a ton of balance, depth, size. They're really good defensively. They control the paint, so Luhigh is definitely going to have their work cut out for them.
And Dylan Mingo now with 20 points, joining Kai and Anthony in the 20-point club. Kyan's got 25. Last gasp for Oak Hill, and Williams with an air ball. Just out of gas.
Yeah.
Too many turnovers, not enough Mgbako, who only played 3 quarters, fouling out at the 7-minute mark.
You got to give Kai and Anthony defensively a ton of credit because you look at the numbers, Mgbako was 7 of 11, but he limited his attempts by the ball pressure and high level of alertness that he had on the defensive end.
And for the 16th consecutive game, Luhigh wins. Undefeated this year without tonight's Nike Player of the Game, Kyan Anthony. Well, they haven't lost with him in the lineup, and today he showed you why.
Yeah, again, I mean, offensively, you look at the numbers, 25 points, an efficient 9 of 15 from the field. But it was the defensive end where I feel like he made the biggest impact. Just did a great job playing off a pick and roll, changing pace, getting downhill to the bucket to get himself going, knocked down a few pull-up threes as well. A true 3-level scorer.
The Syracuse-bound forward, the son of Carmelo Anthony, Kyan Anthony, with a stud-like performance, second half comeback, including a 20-3 run. Oh, and I think Dad's happy as you see Melo hanging out with the shades on as Luhigh punches its ticket to round 2, where they will face 2-seeded Brewster. Well, we're not done today. We still have one more play-in game in the EYBL Scholastic Tournament. And that's coming in just a few minutes. This is the EYBL Scholastic Tournament. A spot in the Chipotle Nationals on the line this week. And we'll be back with Game 2 in a bit.